This is Amud Yomi, Gemara Berachos Daf Membeis Amud Aleph. We hope pick it up in the top line of Membeis Amud Aleph. We just finished discussing how bread potters up everything in the middle of the meal, aside for Dvarim Habayim Sheloi Machmas Asuda, like desserts, etc. Continues the Gemara, really picking up with something from the previous Amud as well about Pasa Babakistin. Rav Huna. Ravuna ate 13 of Pasa Babakistins, which were 3 to Akav, V'loi Baruch, and he did not bench. Amrli Rav Nachman, Ade Kafna, you certainly ate this to quench your hunger. It was clearly a meal. So why didn't you bench? Elakol Sha'acherim, Kaivan loves Suda Tzarech Levar. Says Rav Nachman, it's not totally on you. Maybe you finished and you said you're still hungry. But figs, which other people would be kaveh suda, therefore you would have to bench. Another story. Rav Yehuda bar Chaviva. Rav Yehuda was making the chasana of the son to the daughter of Rav Yehuda bar Chaviva. They brought before him some pas babakist. He asked it again. Pas babakist is we'll just call cake, different mezainis items. But our bread like. He also, when Rav Yehuda came, he heard that what were they making on these items? He said to them, what's this titzi? What's this amaitzi that I'm hearing? They said, excuse me, is it true? Is it possible that really what you're doing is you're making a maitzi? Yes, the Tanya. Rabbi Mayna, Amar Mishnah, Rabbi Dabasma, Bekisim, Varchanala, Maitzi, Vamar Shmuel, and Shmuel said, Lachikira Mayna. Amar Lahu, Rabbi Yehuda said, he got it all wrong. Now, Lachik Rabbi Yehuda, it's Mar. Shmuel said that, no, we do not baskin like Rabbi Mayna, you don't make a Maitzi. Amar Leh, they said to Rabbi Yehuda, Vamar, you! Who, Amar Shmei the Shmuel, you, Rabbi Yehuda, you were the one that said, Mishmei the Shmuel, the Lachmani Yais. Again, a type of Mizayna is the type of cake type item. Ma'arvin bahen, you're allowed to make an ear with it. So says the Gemara, explains Rabbi Yehuda the critical words, the words that change the world about pizza, the world that changed the world about so many items. Shiny, awesome, they kavas hudasu alayu. It's a meal. So you have enough cake, pancakes, waffles. You have enough pizza. Let's just keep it to pizza. It's easier for all of us to understand. Then it's a meal. Then it's a maitzi. But if not, it could be potentially a mizainis. Says the Gemara, Papa Rav Huna, Breder Rav Nalsan, Basa the Gam Sudaisai. So now the Gemara continues the discussion, really moving over to at what point in a meal we would hold the meal is over, and therefore you're not going to be able to continue eating. So Papa Ikla, we're smack in the middle of the Amud. The first word line is Ikla. Rav Papa went to visit Huna Breder Rav Nalsan. Basa the Gam Sudaisu. After they finished the meal, they brought something to eat. Shakur Papa Kachel. Rav said, Gavaldik dessert, and he started eating. Amrlei said to Rav Papa, Loi Savar Lamar. Kamar also Melachel. When you finish the meal, that means you're ready to bench. You're not eating anymore. Got to bench. After you bench, you can eat, or you can make a bracha maybe. Amr leho silik itmar. No, once you remove the bread from the table, that's when the meal is finished. But over here, the bread was not removed, and therefore you're allowed to continue eating. Rabba Rav Zera Klevish Kalusa. So continues the Gemara to show how far this goes. And Rabba and Rav Zera went to visit the Reish Kalusa. So the Avadim, the servants came, they moved the table away from them. Shadule Ristina Miberish Kalusa. And then after they moved the table, they gave them another piece to eat from the Reish Kalusa. Rabba Achal and Rav Zera Lachal. Amr Leiser, Rav Zera said to Rabba, how are you eating? Leiser Lamar, Salik Asr Lachal, when you move the table, the meal's over, you're not eating anymore. Amar Le, Rabba said, Anan Ataka Reish Kalusa Samchinan. We are Seimech on the Reish Kalusa, and for whatever he serves, he determines when the meal's over. Many say it's up to the woman of the household. If she decides there's another dessert, it doesn't make a difference what the husband says. Because you're Seimech al Daita. Amar Rav. The Gemara continues, so normally rubs oil on his hands after he eats, before he benches. That's the point that the meal is over. And therefore, Shemin Makvai Shemin, if he does that, will effectively have ended his meal. He's not eating anymore. Since we normally rub our hands with oils at the end of the meal, that is going to be the end of the meal. But says the Gemara of Alas, Ella. Shalosh Tkifai saying there are three things you got to do right away. Number one, take of the smicha shchita. Right after your saimich, you lean on the animal. Mirtashem, Beis Hamikdash very soon. Shchita, the shchita has to be right away. Number two, take of the gula tefillah. You're davening right after Kol Yisrael. Come Shemon Esrei. Number three, take of the Tilas Yidayim bracha. Right by the Tilas Yidayim, which here is referring to at the end of the meal. You wash my machrayim, boom, and then your meal is over. Then you have to bench. So also references back to Mayim Rishayim, the Tilas Yidayim, before the meal as well. And the Gemara concludes, and the Gemara says, Amar Abaye Afanu Nemar. Let's add on, take of the Talmud Chacham bracha. Says Abraya, you hang on the Talmud Chacham, you get bracha, Shem Varachinu Hashem Gilalech. Hashem is based on Mitzri, Biglal Yosef. We just asked in the parasha is that Pari received the bracha based on Yosef being there. Let's just begin the Mishnah, which will turn over the Amud before we call it a day. Says the Mishnah, if you had wine before the meal, it's going to pater up the wine even after the meal. We're going to see in the Gemara what this means. But similarly, they used to have him in a hagim to serve certain items after the meal. So over here, if they would serve wine after the meal, the wine that's drank beforehand, al-gefen, would pater up that wine. Similarly, birch al parperes, vina bracha on some side dish. We have to see what this means. Of neamazayin, pater saperes alachramaz. Birch al pas. This one is easy. Pater saperes. It paters up everything during the meal. Al parperes, but then alay pater sapas. Beishami aimer naf alay meisikadera. It does not pater meisikadera, some oatmeal porridge type of dish. If they were sitting, and Rashi explains, and not reclining. Obviously, we don't have such a mitzvah so much, but back in then, there was something called sitting, and when they had a meal together, they would all recline back. So Yoshin, if they're sitting, that's not called a kaviyas, it's not called all together, and everyone should make their own bracha. But a seibu, but if they're all reclining, then it's a kaviyas and echad mevarach lekulam, and one person can make a bracha for everyone. And we turn over to Membezim, and the Bezin says the Gemara, if wine is brought during the meal, during a meal, you should not be yaitse one another. We'll see, because it's like kind of to talk during the meal. We don't want someone to say amen. But if it's acher hamazayin, then echad varach lekulam, one can be mighty everyone else. And the one that is mighty everyone else, ala mugmar, which is a sort of incense type of situation that they would burn at the end of the meals, and then they would make a bracha of baruch atzei v'samim. So the one who makes the bracha on the yayin, he gets this bracha as well. Still, the one who makes the bracha on the yayin should make the bracha on the mugmar, and we'll pick it up for the Gemara in the next year. B'siyata dishmaya.